We now return to Let's Play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There is no problem, as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. If you think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Hey? But who are you? How'd you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean from you? Broker.
Yes, sir.
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no?
Yes.
The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my. Hey, that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs, too. Is this a JoJo meme? No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's my old man's, or it was. Now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Naruhodo. This is a very awkward situation. Yes. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Miss Lestrade, is what the gentleman is saying... What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before.
Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now.
No, I swear it. I swear to God. It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the street, minding my own business, when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets, you should maybe just not go in their neighborhood yet again. Oh yes, as you can see, I am a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat.
Come on now, come along now, Miss Lestrade. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police.
Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy Calvin, you think I'm the dodgy one.
I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you.
Well, what about evidence?
Yeah.
Where's your evidence that I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally.
You what?
Evidence that the article Miss Lestrade redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult Mr. Windibank's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant.
I'm very sorry, but I don't have paperwork. I operate very below the law, you see. But I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Oh?
I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine.
But why not?
Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity.
Yes, I see. But then how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it?
Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question?
course. It's Professor. Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt. A watchword? Interesting. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Winterbank, as I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activity secret. Wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets, none at all. Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The date of deposit, description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if that someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article. That's right, sir. Yes, just as soon as the requisite fee is paid. And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat, deposited 2 months ago on the 15th of February. With the watchword of Professor. All perfectly correct information, sir. Ow! Really, this is beyond a joke now. There is no further room for doubt. Okay. We can just leave? Excuse me, but who are you? One could express the inquirer to introduce himself first. Wow, that's not even the damned word. One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Oh, clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Oh, sorry, yes. We're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Oh yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices. Oop, I might be thinking of somewhere else. What was that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps, anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first, before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes. I'm Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Susato Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's assistant. I say, my name is Benedict. Yes, Eggert Benedict. Enchanté. He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious. Because of Eggs Benedict, it's a joke. Now, to the matter at hand. My overcoat. Return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes. Can't stand watching him. They had fun with the dialogue in this one. So let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Cumbersnatch, sir. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar. The contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, here is the disc for you. Just this one.
Pardon, sir? I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Another disc? Oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Guttling, you're hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? Oh, I don't know nothing about it. Well. And I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute. That disc is mine. What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Oh my, yes, there's blood on the disc. Because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on them. Well, I found it first, alright. I mean, it belonged to me old man. So you're not having it. Oh, you, take it. Me? If I hang on to it, they'll have it off me again, so you keep hold of it, Miss Lestrade. Why is this disc so important to her? A metal disc used to play music in a mechanical music box. Entered into the court record. You there, in the back black livery. Hand that disc to me at once, please. No, don't, he's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Run away! No, we shouldn't do that. Mr. Windibank watching diligently over his shop. There are still so many things I'm curious about, but somehow I don't really feel like this is the right time to be browsing. Only this fraught situation must be our first priority, and I'm fairly certain that we can find just the great thing we need among the articles here in this shop. Okay, well, I was attempting to look. Mr. Sholmes, what are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. So, you found me at last, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So, feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, this 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Naruhodo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then, why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. Really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again. My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, were my genius for deduction to be commoditized, how much could I pawn it for? It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration, but who knows if it'll help to resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Alright. I could just take it and try to run to Baker Street, but Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away, not an hour later. It's harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Eggert Benedict, you have, in my eyes,
this veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon? The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate... how do you say that with an accent? You'll orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what do you say to my deductions? How? He's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Sherlock Sholmes Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. The game is afoot. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured into this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. That is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutched to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot! I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the missing ferrule. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. I was thinking it was more the initials AG. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane demands such a stout handle, mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod is the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What a calculated crime you've conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. To tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery. Okay. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel. What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose. Save for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, well, there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict, I just thought there are, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. According to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This is madness. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, we would gain access to the waterway that flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you... In summary, sir, devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? Which brings us, at last, to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. A postcard of the Great Exhibition. I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway. The government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vaults of the bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. Thus concludes Herr Larksham's great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Mr. Sholmes? Well, Mr. Naruhodo, an impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me, in the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly, in fact. And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly, it is because the man is a criminal. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Windibank will. He already has plenty of shovels here, after all. In my life, I assure you, I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them. Once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Naruhodo. An excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, you know what to do, I'm sure? Yes, let's listen to the great deduction again and see if we can massage it into shape. Very well then, let us start once more from the beginning. If we must. This one's going to be a little bit harder because I don't think I had opportunity to really look around like the previous ones. Okay. So, by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? What did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Is this... Oh. Look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gina Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness. There's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although, if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of this shop have been written down here, too. Windibank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline, 15th of April. Which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper? I was actually looking at the... That's a proper English gentleman's cane, isn't it? Look at the beautifully polished brass on the handle. Yes, but Mr. Sholmes is right. It's not the sort of handle you usually see on a cane. Perhaps it's the latest London fashion. I mean, that's just guesswork, of course. Perhaps you could adopt a cane, Mr. Naruhodo? It might suit you. I have a feeling it might argue with the sword around my waist. Okay, so apparently we're not going to check this out. Is there anything else around the room? I actually think that is what we're looking at. It would help if you could get that out of my way. Get the text out of the way, please. Stylish hat. That silk top hat is whiter than white. Only an English gentleman could hope to carry it off something so bright. But it looks so incongruous with the black overcoat, don't you think? Perhaps it's the latest London fashion. I mean, that's just guesswork, of course. How about it, Mr. Naruhodo? I think you look very fetching in a white top hat. Well, you know, I think it might look rather incongruous with my black university uniform, so... It's not... What is he got behind his back? I think it's the note that we're supposed to present. That's the cane. What is that up there? So it must only appear when I've looked at something... Okay, there we go. When I'm down in this area. I see nothing else in the background, though. So I think the hat is a red herring. It's just there to tell us that, hey, this probably isn't his coat. I think we need to be looking at the flyer. Thank you.
Take that!
Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the fire pertain to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Winterbank's pawnbroker here. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Winterbank's pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutched to your person, okay. It's not this, though. What's a ferrule? Ferrule? It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Naruhodo. The bit that makes the nice clacking sound of the pavement. Yes, exactly. And Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. But it doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Although the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Easy now. Okay, it's giving me very limited movement. Look here, Mr. Sato. There's some letters on the handle. Ah, yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. So Herlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously. Oh. AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? I guess we do that then.
Take that!
Obviously. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Eggert Benedict? I'm led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet in a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. An incontrovertible contradiction indeed, would you not agree? No, you're wrong. The cane isn't... You said before that you'd had the cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, though you held yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? Okay, here we go again. In recoiling, you have inadvertently facilitated the answer of the next conundrum. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking overcoat, and now a mysterious man has appeared introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. We know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he has told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Is it the hat? Is it the hat? What else was that? Handle? Stylish. I'm gonna guess it's the stylish hat, seeing as how there's... Oh. It doesn't fit. Oh, the seam on the shoulder there is coming apart. Look. So it is. You know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. But now I think it was probably the sound of this seam ripping open. If you look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. The sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have a hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around in it, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry? So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? She's really giving this some thought. Okay, well that's probably it then. That it doesn't fit.
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so boldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. This catalogue of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Winterbank. Well, what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Go on. Okay, let's continue. Let's expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to filch some tawdry article of ponage. Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place, how could I possibly have known the relevant details? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. And the furtive glance. Let us consider I need to... Oh. When these things go on, I need to clear my throat. Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword related to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were drawn. No, the direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers, which is a pity because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yes, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Winterbank would never allow you to redeem the article. Or, looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Winterbank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? I'm going to imagine... Look at this, Miss Sato. It appears to be a memo that Mr. Winterbank has scribbled to himself. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, Professor. Mr. Winterbank must make a note of the watchwords his customers give him right before their eyes, and in alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear, I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see? Okay, well I think that's it right there then, isn't it? We can look at the rest of this stuff, but I don't think... This is Mr. Winterbank's gun. Yes, loaded with only one bullet, he said. It would appear that being a pawnbroker is a very life-or-death profession. It might just be this particular establishment. looks to be quite an old lamp. But it's obviously been... Oh, he looked through the lamp to see the magnified note then, huh? And it's obviously been well looked after, and there's oil in it too. In other words, it's still in use. Yes, it would appear so. But as for how it could be related to Mr. Benedict knowing the watchword for the pond article, I have no idea. That makes two of us. It doesn't actually look like it has anything to do. The doggy. I don't think we get anything else, so I'm gonna just do this one then.
Take that!
The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword, and notes down the response uttered on the notelet he has it to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in this shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Winterbank. No. The diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice. Oh, sorry, this is Ryunosuke. You observed him writing the word professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, was the master plan you devised to steal the pond article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan? Which brings us, at last, to the final chapter of this scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had a very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. Alright, the picture postcard. The articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets, which, according to Mr. Winterbank, isn't even worth a penny. And yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo. Could we? Really? I'd better have a thorough look at all the evidence we've collected so far. We've only collected one thing. So I guess that tells you everything you need to know. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc, look. And a scribbled word or two. It looks like somebody's name. For McGilded. McGilded? It couldn't be. But it is Mr. Naruhodo, and a name I shall never forget for as long as I live. But why? Why is his name on this? The information has been updated. Can we... Okay. I guess we just use this to present.
Take that!
You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that? On the back. It reads, for McGilded. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGilded, the unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, though his loan-mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature. In fact, He was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you've squeezed yourself into. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Edgar Benedict, but the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Well, well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. What a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Mrs. Otto. Well, according to what Mr. Windibank told us earlier, today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not? Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. Well, today is the 15th of April, so 2 months ago today would have been 15th of February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30 p.m., I see. What? But that suggests... Yes, the 15th of February. It's precisely the day on which the omnibus murder took place. And 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding. Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However, I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. I do. Whoa! That's not what I... Okay, I didn't mean to actually select something there. You could shoot me at any moment. I hate to give in, but what other choice do I really have here? Mr. Windibank, this is my shop. I won't allow any harm to come to my customers. If that were to happen, I should have to take my own life. Mr. Windibank, no. Alright, that's enough. Who's that? Alright, Inspector Gregson. Inspector? That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about then, eh? We'll find out next time.